I'm not trying to get you scared of it, but this is the reality. So if you're not ready to fight, you leave it. Now, people who are scared, really, what can I say to you? Allah Ta'ala says, أَتَخْشَوْنَهُمْ. Do you fear them? Do you fear them? How can you, as a believer, as a Muslim, accept and say, no, I'm afraid of these people, so I'm not getting involved in that? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Huh? Is this, subhanallah? And look, the power of sahir is a small power of Iblis. Because the sahir has to do a satanic thing to get this power of making sihr. So Iblis, he is giving worship to Iblis, and Iblis is giving him a small power, just a bit of power. So if you're not afraid of Iblis, how can you be afraid of this guy who has a very, very little power coming from Iblis? You see? And whatever you do for Islam, Iblis is going to fight you. I mean, for example, for non-Muslims, Allah Ta'ala says, فَأَتْبَعَهُ الشَّيْطَانِ. Shaitan will follow him. Non-Muslim, Shaitan will not block his way. He lets him do because he's kafir and he's doing bad things already. But Shaitan will only follow him to make sure he will not look back. He will not regret. He will not think about Islam. But those who follow the right path, he says, لَآتِيَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ. I will come from in front, from the back, from the right, from the left. I will do all possible to take them away from the right path. So when you're following the right path, you're having problems with Iblis. But when you're on the wrong path, you don't have any more problem. And you can see that their life, they seem better, they seem agreeing together, etc. And we Muslims are having many problems because we have problem with Iblis. He's fighting us. And now, if you are following the right path and you are doing something for Islam, to get mosques, to preach people, to teach people, so now you're getting Iblis annoyed more and more. And he's going to do more and more problems on you, you see? And when you're making ruqya, it is the same. So if you don't want any problems with Iblis, and you just try to be a small Muslim so he doesn't see you bothering him, is that a solution? And I just want to tell you, look at people making sihr. They have no fear of Allah and no fear of people. Because someone making sihr, for example, someone made sihr to divide you, to separate you from your life, you can go see another seer, another sorcerer and say, who did that? And you go kill him, isn't it? Some people don't have fear of Allah. I'm not telling you that you should do, but I'm saying someone who's doing that, he will have problems with people who don't care at all about anything and can go to kill him because he ruined his family, etc. But they're not afraid, and they're so proud. And he can tell you, as long as I'm alive, you'll never get married, you'll never get children, this and that. They put themselves in the place of Allah Ta'ala, and they're not afraid. And we, the ones who believe in Allah and pray and everything, we will be afraid of them. So if we are afraid of them, they're going to beat us. And we're all hiding each other, and we don't want to bother, don't want to have problems, afraid of jinns, afraid of sihr. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Okay? So that is the first course, which is risks and predictions. So now we're going to go into the rest of the courses. So I'm not going to follow this. This scheme, because this is made for the training that we give you in our centers. You see, and the training has to be theoretical and practical. So you get theoretical, you practice, and then we teach you more. That's how it goes. So today is very, very intensive course, very, very intensive, and we're going to put a lot of things together. So I mean, as a teaching, it's not the best idea to put it all intensive, but that's how we managed to do it. And those who want to really learn and practice, so you'll have to come to our place, inshallah, and follow the practical courses until you get it all. So now I'm going to tell you about the treatment, how it works. So we treat three things: sihr, jinn, and ayn. Ayn, nazar. We treat three things. Quran is a remedy, as Allah Ta'ala says, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. We give down a Quran that is a remedy and a mercy for believers. And this remedy is not limited to spiritual things. It's not limited to jinn and sihr and ayn. It is general. So some people treat with Quran cancer and do any kind of illness, but this is not my my field. It's not my field. I intentionally only want to deal with these things, jinn and sihr and ayn. Why? Because this is related to aqidah. This is related to iman. Because when people have these problems, they go to sahir and they lose iman and they do bad things, etc., etc. Whereas if someone has a cancer and he dies, inshallah, he would be shaheed. Great for him. Well, if we can treat cancer by Quran, very fine. But it's not really my problem. Okay? It's just to tell you that you could treat more with Quran and, of course, with the Prophet's medicine. But myself and my group and my teaching is limited to this. Okay? I think everybody understands sihr. Now, when sihr is done, most of the time they send jinn with the sihr. But sometimes they don't send jinn with the sihr. So sihr is something that operates independently of jinns. But jinns are sent to make sihr more efficient. Okay? And it depends. Yes? It depends on different cultures and different ways of making sihr. So, different ways of making sihr is like cooking. You have different cooking habits in different countries. So, for example, in France, sahir don't use a lot of jinns, because in France they don't get the opportunity to slaughter animals, and they don't get the opportunity to make rituals in forests, in mountains, in graveyards, etc. So they don't get opportunity to hire many jinns. So mostly they do sihr with little jinns. And in Africa, they use a lot of jinns, because in Africa you can easily slaughter animals, you can easily, and they're in forests. I mean, I have turned so much in Africa, you cannot find a single river or forest or mountain without people making sacrifices for jinns, rituals for jinns. And Hindu sihr uses a lot of jinns, because they worship idols, and that brings a lot of jinns. So they have loads of jinns, you see. But sihr works without jinns, and often there are jinns with the sihr. Now, jinns can hit the people without sihr. Well, most of the time, when you have jinn, it is coming from sihr. But it could be not coming from sihr. It could be a matter of revenge. If you hit jinns, you do something without saying Bismillah, you could just go to the toilet without saying Bismillah, and just by urinating, you can burn jinns, and they will take revenge on you. And jinns also come by love. So by love, if you just take your clothes off without saying Bismillah, and jinns see you naked, so they can fall in love with you. So if someone is having sexual haram practices, so that will bring more and more jinns to the person. Now, I'll give you an example. I had one girl, I was treating her, and she was always having love of jinns. And I told her, how are you behaving in your life? She said, no, I'm a shy girl, I'm not doing anything wrong. And then I kept on discussing with her, and she told me that she was living with a Christian guy without marriage, and also she works as for clothes, how to say that, top model, showing clothes, and when she needs money, she goes dancing in cabaret and showing her legs to everybody. I said, oh, you poor thing. There's no way we can finish the love of jinns with you. The hundreds waiting behind, waiting for their turn. So there's no way that can come to an end. May Allah Ta'ala help us. But in spite of that, even when jinns are here by revenge or by love, you mostly find sihr in the person that allowed those jinns to come into him. You see? So this makes that jinn problems nearly always come back to sihr. And ayn also. So what is ayn? Ayn is when you look at something, you admire something without saying mashallah, without saying the name of Allah Ta'ala. That way you look at it by admiring it will break the barakah that's in it. And for example, that often happens to babies, because when you have a baby, so everyone say, oh, what a nice baby, what a beautiful baby. So babies are very much hit by that. Now there are some people that have the capacity of making ayn. Some people, for example, I met one sister and she was studying Islam. Alhamdulillah, she was very, very strong in Islam, because if she was a bad girl, that would have been terrible. Because she told me any time if she looks something and she likes it, and if she forgets to mention Allah Ta'ala, it will break immediately. For example, she was in a restaurant and the boy was going by with a nice place, and oh, nice place, he fell down, everything on the ground, ruined immediately. One of her friends got a new car, and she said, oh, what new car? It broke right away, right there, etc. So some people have this capacity of doing evil eye, so they must always remember to say mashallah tabarakallah, and if they don't, you must say it. And sometimes the evil eye comes from a group, so no one has the capacity himself of making that evil eye, that ayn, the nazar, but because everybody is saying, oh, he's this, he's that, so the ayn hits him. Okay, so anyway, the ayn is the smallest of the three things, of the jinn and sihr and ayn. It is the smallest, and the treatment of ayn is always included in the treatment you are giving. But if the ayn comes stronger, it will become like sihr. I'll give you a couple of examples. There was one girl, an Arab girl in France, and she was blonde. She was blonde, and she was like, you know, Poupée Barbie doll. She was like a beautiful doll, you see. And she was Arab, so all those other Arab ladies said, how can you have such a girl? She's so this and that. So her hair fell down and she had terrible buttons over her head, etc. You see, because that was making too much ayn on her. She was too different from the other girls, and all those ladies are getting mad. How her girl is like that, my girl is not like that, etc. And a second example, I had a runner. He was an international sportsman, and he was running in a field, and he was running round and round, and then people were looking, and one came to him and told him, you have run all this and you're not tired? He said, no. And since that day, he could not bypass the level he reached in that training. So whenever he would run like that, he would get cramps in his legs and he has to stop. And it's been going on for years, you see. So that's why ayn can become strong like sihr. So if ayn becomes strong like sihr, we're going to treat it as if it was sihr. As if someone made sihr to him to stop him running, so we'll treat it that way. Okay? So this is to tell you that the 3 points of sihr and jinn and ayn all come back to treat sihr. Right? And now we treat sihr. We treat sihr according to how it is done. So what's that mean? For example, if you have eaten sihr, so we have to remove that sihr from your stomach. Would it be sihr to stop you working, to get you separated from your wife, to get you crazy, any kind of sihr, to lose your money? So as long as we know it has been eaten, so the treatment is the same. It has to be removed from your stomach. So this is what it means that removing sihr does not depend on the effect of that sihr. It depends on how it has been done. Okay? Yes, I wanted to say something. The mistake of most people who are not professionals in Rukja and try to do Rukja is to attack the jinns without removing the sihr. So when you attack the jinns, and jinn is here by sihr, so you are getting yourself tired and getting the patient tired and getting the jinn tired with very little results. Even if you force that jinn to go, he's attached by sihr, that sihr will force him to come back. So if you do remove the sihr, so mostly the jinn will go by himself because there's nothing now keeping him with the person, right? So I told you we remove the sihr according to the way it is done, and there are 4 ways of doing sihr.